Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Trek YT here, or Nick, back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we are going to be doing something that I've done three episodes, I guess, in the past. So this is going to be the fourth edition of it, and I've been doing them kind of like once every several months, like multiple months, like 6-7 months in between each episode. I'd like to try to make it a little bit less time in between, maybe like up to at max once a month. Well, I don't know, we'll see where we can go with it. But today's episode, what today's video is 5 brand new blocks that I believe that they should be added to Minecraft. I've designed all of these blocks on my own, and I feel as if that they should be added to the game. Now, just so you guys know that all of these textures and all of these blocks, the main idea is the idea of the block, not the actual representation. So like these textures are not polished. They're not exactly what I would say should be implemented in the game, because I know that the professionals over at Mojang would do 10 times the better job than I would do. This is just so you guys can visually see my idea for it and then see how it can be implemented into a build. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into our first 2 blocks. So jumping right into our first block, it's 2 blocks, but I kind of combine them as the same idea and concept. So the main one is not really my main idea, even though it's something that I have strongly believed should have been added to the game, and I honestly really don't think it ever will be added, but I still believe that it should be, is sideways slabs. So everybody under the sun that's a builder definitely wants sideways slabs in the game. Now, my thing where I brought my own, I guess, inspiration to is I think there should be sideways stairs as well, sort of like this. Now, I think the way that these could be used is on corner pieces of builds. They could add a different, I guess, crease, or like a way to transition to creased blocks, I guess. I just feel like that this would give that option, as well as the sideways slab. There's just so many possibilities that could be useful for a sideways slab that any builder could really just go off forever telling you that there's so many implications where that could be useful. So let's jump right into our next block. So our next block, or blocks, is a new update for the glass in the game. Now, I know this texture isn't perfect, but I kind of like it a little bit. I know that it could definitely be polished up a little bit, but the idea is that we've had glass in the game. We have glass frames, we have glass panes, we have glass blocks. I think that there should be almost like a glass frames, because on some houses in real life, there's a little divide in that glass pane. So like, I feel like that should definitely be something that could be implemented into the game, because you can make these big windows out of regular glass panes, but it just, you don't have that way to kind of add this little like diagonal cross, or this cross right in the center, and kind of break up the frames like are in some windows in real life. So I definitely feel as if that this should be implemented into the game as its own separate block. Maybe by taking a previous glass block or previous glass pane and adding sticks to it or wood to it, as that would be the crafting recipe. I just feel like this could be a useful block to add some more intricate details, and kind of will allow you to build different genres. So like you could build almost like medieval with this idea, maybe. I don't know, I just thought it would be a cool block that should definitely, in my opinion, be implemented into the game. So our next block is a block that I accidentally made, honestly. So I was making this for a texture pack for a build that I'm doing, and I thought that this block actually could be something that should definitely be added to the game. And then I was doing a little researching of what kind of stones are this shade of color, and I came across limestone. So that's the name of the block. I would name this block would be limestone, and I think it's very closely resembles stone. So that's why I put stone next to you guys can see the difference of it. So you're not just thinking that it's stone. It's a very much lighter version of stone. It's very softer to the eye, and I think it looks really good. And you'll see when I show you guys a build after implementing all of these blocks that I've designed into one build, that it definitely flows really well, and it fits into Minecraft very, very well. It's not like a standout block, and it really works with all the other textures in the game and all the colors and shades in the game, and it works really well. So I just feel like that they should continually expand on the stones in the game, just because it gives people another expansion of color palettes and just blocks that they can work with, and it can even lead to like limestone bricks or limestone slabs and all that jazz. So that's the block that I think that definitely should be added to the game. If any of these blocks are added, I think this one should be added. So our next block is something that this is not a polished texture for this block, but it's definitely the idea that I want to get across. So when I'm detailing often like wilderness things or like very naturistic things like paths and all that stuff that are almost like a taiga biome, I guess I would use this most often, but I like to use buttons as to resemble sort of like rocks on the ground. Now, I wanted to make it so it's not just a button. I wanted to have a more detailed, I guess, block specifically for that, so I came up with stones. Now, I don't know if that's a good name for it, but basically it would be a block like this in your inventory. It would look almost like a coal block, and what you could do this is you could take maybe 4 of these stones and they could make into like cobblestone or something like that, make into a stone block, or maybe these can almost make the limestone block, even though I don't think that would make sense like realistically, but it could possibly be that way. But it definitely, you'll see in this build that I will present to you guys at the end, that it works very good when it comes to paths, and I think that this could almost, if you take a bunch of these and start stacking them together, that this could almost be a path on its own, or maybe if you wanted to keep going like this, it could be its own path. Now, I designed this block with a cauldron block, so you can't actually walk over it right now, but in the polished texture, I would have it so it would be almost like a carpet that you could walk over. So last but certainly not least, I present to you guys the water lily block. So it is a realistic block that's kind of already in real life. They're water lilies. You guys can Google it up. It's a real thing. I just want to expand upon top water flowers and stuff like that. So we've had the lily pad, and that's kind of all we've really had for just about ever in Minecraft. So I really want to expand upon that because I want to be able to detail my water pieces a lot more. Right now you can kind of have like hanging vines over top of them, or if you get creative, you can put barrier blocks underneath your water and then put like plants underneath it in like a non-watered down area, and it creates a cool effect. But I want to try to detail even more on top of the water. So I think by adding some flowers like the water lily, and maybe even in the future adding like coral, or I guess like a plant that I could place right here and it would kind of be inside the water. I don't know. I just feel like that this is something that they really should try to work on in future updates, is really add more detail to areas that haven't really been, I guess they've been overlooked in a way. Like the tops of waters, all we've had is lily pads. Why not add a water lily? So what we're going to do now that you guys have seen all of the blocks that I've presented to you, I'm going to show you guys a build and how all of these blocks kind of work together inside a build, and kind of where these blocks would fit into in a realistic area. Alright, so this is the build that I have for you guys that encases all of these blocks into one singular build. So you'll notice straight up front, I have the water lilies placed into the water like this. Now, I think they actually look pretty good. I think they definitely could polish up the texture a little bit more, but I definitely think it's pretty close to where I would like it. I found that this block already looks pretty decent. I took a pre-existing flower, changed it up a little bit, added some little on the side. Basically what I did is I took a cobweb texture and I retextured it so it would look sort of like that. So that one I think is actually pretty close to where I would like it. The next block that you'll notice is the glass frames, the ones that have the wood built into them. I think they actually look pretty cool in this build. They definitely could polish up the texture a little bit more, but I definitely think that it's looking pretty good. You'll also notice that the rest of the blocks are kind of over here. Now they're more like wilderness blocks. So what I did with the sideways slabs is I thought that they worked pretty well as almost like a fence. You can see I kind of tried to make the fence like broken up and kind of lead you this way, but I definitely think it would work kind of like a fence. I think that's a kind of almost like a unique way to use the block. Next, you'll notice the stones on the ground right here. As I was saying, they look pretty dang good. Now, what I think would be kind of cool is if in the actual stone texture, if they ever implemented it, having these stones be random every single time, so that way this stone won't look the same as this stone or something like that. I think that would definitely look really, really cool. And then lastly, you'll notice the limestone block that I used in the path, but you can also notice on the walls over here that it definitely works really well with all the other textures. It's not like something that just like stands out like the granite and all those diorites. I feel like those almost stand out more than this limestone block. So that's why I'm saying that this block is definitely a really important block that I think definitely should be implemented. I've heard other people mention other stones that they would like added, and I definitely feel like this version of the stone, it doesn't even have to be called limestone, but I think that this texture right here is a very, very good texture, and I think it should definitely be implemented into the game. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I definitely want to hear your guys' feedback on all of these blocks that I've presented to you. Definitely let me know if you guys like them, if you guys think that any of these blocks should be tweaked a little bit, and definitely if you have have any other ideas that you guys think should be added into the game, definitely let me know down below. I definitely love reading your comments, and I definitely would love to see some of your ideas and maybe implement them into a further edition, like another episode for this series. As always, guys, I love you all. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.
Can we skip to the good part?